Last day it was like 66.
Geez, you might have been home.
Well, I'm telling you, tell different when we got home.
Yeah.
That,
That year we went to, we went to Orlando, that IT conference. And it was like 82 in February.
well, I respect, at least that.
Yeah, yeah. The IT conference we went to 4 years ago. That what that was.
Hey, you need to put me back.
Me, Diane, Chris, Jerry, where was I?
Oh.
Oh, we tried it again, we tried it down there. Yeah, no, it was miserable then. It rained.
So, Yeah, this time I need a motion to return to open session.
So move.
You got a motion second. All in favor, say motion, saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Okay, at this time, we'll stand for a moment of silence, and we'll go into our pledge. All right, this time we'll do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this time we're down to the approval of our minutes on our January 11th and January 25th meetings. Need a motion to approve those meetings. Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Here none. I need to call for the vote. All those folks that motion saying aye. All those opposed, like sign. The motion carried. This time we're down to our special recognition. Mrs. Folsom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We would like to recognize some very special students tonight. Chesterfield County School District had our annual district spelling bee Thursday, January 14th. The district used the writing option instead of an oral spelling bee this year. These two students that you see on your screen, Samuel J. Deese from Jefferson Elementary was your winner, and Brady Burr from Chesterfield Ruby Middle School was our district runner-up. We have their certificates and their trophies, and we will get those to those students. Also, we are happy to recognize our junior scholars for this school year. They are newly identified for South Carolina Junior Scholars. From New Heights Middle School, we have Caleb Blakeney and Caden Sims. The following students from Chesterfield Ruby Middle School: Lauren Brock, Ava Phillips, Tristan Chan, Dalton Moore, and Mara Brock. Congratulations to those students. We will get their certificates to them as well.
That's how I'll give my hand. Ms. Folsom.
Thank you.
All right, this time we'll move on down to our next item. Down to our next item is our financial report. Mr. Wood. I'm sorry, I apologize. I jumped one. Teacher forum report. I'm sorry, Ms. Garrison. Ms. Garrison, our teacher of the year, is here to give us our teacher forum report. Ms. Garrison, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Chairman of the board, board members. Before I present the calendar information, I wanted to share with you the thank you letter you should have received today in your portal. Teacher Forum, we got together and wrote a thank you note, just wanting to express our gratitude in your approval of the stipend that was received in January. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to read that, and we sincerely appreciate your support to the staff, faculty and staff of our school district. You have both calendar options before you, option A and option B. The employee vote was 67% was option B, so it won out over the 33% for option A. There was a record number of votes this year compared to years in the past. Everything that needed to be considered with the calendar, by law, students couldn't begin before the third Monday in August, so that made Monday, August the 16th, the earliest start date. And on both calendars, you can see that the start dates were the same. October the 18th has been set aside for the Old English Consortium Staff Development Day. Martin Luther King Day is on the calendar for Monday, January the 17th. And then spring break is a little bit later. It's April the 11th through the 15th. So Easter is on the 17th. So spring break, in order for it to coincide with the Easter holiday, it's listed from the 11th through the 15th. On the option B, Easter Monday is also down as a holiday. Maybe that's why some people chose that one. But there's also, it has to have no less than 3 inclement weather days. Those are in there. There's also state testing has to be done within the last 20 days of school. So that's been allowed in the calendars. And then we've got to consider summer reading camp having to be a minimum of 4 weeks. In order for it to be done by July 4th, then it needs to start on June the 6th. So, you know, with option B winning out, all of those things were taken into consideration and are there in the calendar.
Okay,
So
you recommending D or recommending?
right, Teacher Forum is recommending option B on the calendar. It had 2/3 of the vote across the district.
Need a motion to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Garrison, for your hard work and all the teacher forums work. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
This time, we're going to move on down to our financial report. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good evening. Good evening. You've been given the January monthly review prior to the meeting. I'll be glad to field any questions or take any notes that you have regarding that.
Any questions? All right. Continue on.
Okay. We wanted to put the 21-22 budget update item on the list in the event that we had additional information to bring before you since we were last together. That simply has not happened. But I will tell you that the legislative bodies appear to be waiting on the estimates from the BEA, the Board of Economic Advisors, that's due on February the 15th. So we feel like they want to know more about what they're working with before they give us additional information regarding the budget. I did want to tell you a couple of things about probably the largest thing, the biggest topic in the budget at the moment being discussed, which will actually take place in the current year, is the reinstatement of the step increase. So we feel like that is going to pass, and we fully support the passing of that. But just want you to know that we have people out that are going to be in front of the Senate Finance Committees and other bodies trying to get some language changed in that joint resolution due to the fact that we feel like fringe is not being covered in that right now. And we're working off of things like average versus actuals. So we do have a representative that will be testifying before the Senate Finance Committee tomorrow. I think that's at 3 o'clock. And I think there at least is an audio only option to tune into that if you are available. So stay tuned on that. And we're not sure exactly what the mandates or the guidelines are going to be as far as payout of that at this point in time. But stay tuned. We will bring more to you as we get that information. Any other questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Willard.
Thank you.
Okay, this time we're down to our personnel report. Dr. Anderson. Dr. Anderson, you want to take me there?
Yes, sir, I am. Dr. Anderson was not able to be with us. Administration would recommend the approval of the exhibits A through C tonight. So moved.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second on the approval of the exhibits A through C. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Loaded in your portal today were the numbers for the previous week, as well as all of the weeks of the school year so far on the on COVID activity. I will take a minute to go through each slide, but I would make a comment before we go through the slides that the issue as far as people out still is the quarantine. However, the quarantine as a tool to limit spread appears to continue to work. So, you know, while it's inconvenient to have a lot of people out on quarantine, the inconvenience is paying dividends by us not having excessive spread. I would also say that I compared notes with some other superintendents just to see how we were faring per capita. We are still doing very well on both positives for staff and students, as well as quarantines of staff and students when compared to our neighbors and peer districts. You'll notice in the most recent week, we had 9 staff positive cases across the district. Those were reported, and they were certainly widespread over our different schools. The student positive cases were up this past week at 36. We did have a area that we had a few more in one area than we normally do, and that was Shorrock Primary School. That led us to some fairly high quarantine numbers there because we went ahead and closed some classes for the week. We did sort of hit a threshold last week where we had our first time where DHEC recommended that we close some classrooms. In the past, we've done it on our own, but we did have a few classrooms in the district that we closed at their recommendation. We continue to follow their recommendations. As you know, we have separated those duties as far as who makes those kind of decisions so that it's not an administrative decision, but it's done through our nursing staff. And that way it sort of keeps another layer, sort of like the old football trainer thing. It's better for the trainer to say when the lightning makes you leave the field because that coach doesn't want to get in one more play. So we've done it that way. Staff isolations and quarantines across the district, we had 33 last week, and that number was slightly up from the week before. We had seen some elevated numbers the past few weeks. Finally, student isolations and quarantines saw a little bit of correction back down last week to 150. That was after last week's high for the school year of 278. So we continue to move forward. There are challenges, no doubt, but our staff, teachers, staff, all staff has pitched in to make this work. And so far, we've been able to continue to make things work. I'll take any questions there are about the COVID update.
We still have plenty of PPE and cleaning and cleaners and everything to carry us through the end of the school year.
Yes, sir. In fact, with disinfectant materials, we actually have enough to get through the summer and into the beginning of next year. We went ahead and we actually bought significantly more than the state allocated us on the misters. We went ahead and bought extras just to make sure that we could quickly disinfect areas if we needed to.
Dr. Goodwin, I see most districts around us has a plan. Can you explain what plan that we're looking for as far as the vaccination?
Yes, sir. We do have a plan. We are partnered with Care South in our region, and they have been in communication with us. We have already surveyed our staff. We did that survey back about 3 weeks ago now. Those who were definitely going to take the vaccine if we offered it, those who would likely take the vaccine, and then those who would not. We actually then took that because not everybody replied, but we scaled that up by the number of percentages. And we actually have requested enough vaccine for everyone who said they would get the vaccine and those who said they would likely get the vaccine. I know there's been a lot of talk back and forth about the governor. He has the plan that we've got to get through all of 1A with senior citizens and those most at risk before they go to 1B, which is where teachers are. You know, the Senate has now passed a joint resolution they're passing to the House on moving teachers up. And they even put in the provision of how they would get half of those vaccines. I think over the course of the next week, you're going to see that drama play out, and we will be watching that very close in the House and the Senate and in the governor's office. So I feel really good. We have made the offer. I spoke with the state superintendent multiple times last week. We are one of the districts who said that if needed, we would close on a Friday to inoculate our folks on a Thursday evening, and then give them a long weekend to, in case they had any side effects, to recover, so we didn't have large absences. The state superintendent encouraged that. She certainly gave her stamp of approval on that. And when we know a date, Care South knows that it's our desire to try to do it that way.
Thank you, sir.
You're gonna try to do it all at one site, you're gonna do it.
Well, currently we'd like to do it at 4 sites in each of the high school attendance areas. And so it would be a pretty manageable number to do in an evening.
Do you know what the number is on how many is already, which you plan on doing?
Yes, sir. As strange as it is, the number is actually on the tip of my tongue. We have 688 doses that we have reserved.
Doc, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How are we doing with reporting? Like, if a student tests positive in the class, I mean, how quickly are we getting the information back to that teacher and the parents that have been, of the kids that have been around that kid? What is our policy there, our protocol?
Within the same day is what the required protocol is. If we identify folks who need to be quarantined, we have to notify them within that day.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else? Anything else?
No, sir, that's all.
That's all. Do you know exactly when you think the plan's gonna roll out and start?
No, sir, I think this week with the legislature and the governor's office sort of doing battle, I think after this week, we probably will have a timeline in place.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks. All right, this time we'll move on down to our curriculum report, Ms. Folsom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'd like to highlight 2 items from your January curriculum report. The district is working on getting STRDEP expansion as a possibility for this summer. We would provide 4K students the opportunity to continue throughout the summer within a high-quality early childhood program. We are surveying parents to find out who is interested in this program. The students would attend at least 5 weeks along with the summer reading camp students. We would be able to utilize our bus transportation as well as our food service during that same time. I also would like to highlight the Governor's School for Science and Mathematics Accelerate program. Currently, we have 4 rising sophomores that have made application for this Accelerate program for next year. Chesterfield High School has 3 students and Sherrall High School has 1 student that is interested. Students still have time to apply. The deadline to submit their application is February the 15th. Guidance counselors are working with these students to submit those applications. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Folsom. Okay, moving on down to our next item, we're down to our superintendent report, Dr. Goodwin.
Yes, the only item I have tonight is just to remind you that Monday, February 15th is President's Day. On our current calendar, that is shown as an in-service day with no school for students. We also, though, are going to have all of the buildings closed. We will do some extra disinfecting, and we'll do some extra things there. But I think there's no doubt that if we wanted to count hours that our people have put in, they're not taking advantage of us. And we're certainly just trying to give them back just a little bit of time to breathe and then get ready to go for another long stretch. That's all.
Okay. This time moving on down to the chairman's comments, we're down to, first item on there is, Sacramento School Board Association Annual Convention, which will be February 18th through the 21st. Get them ahead on, if anybody's interested in signing up, talking to Ms. Patsy, so she'll get you signed up. Our next item will be on March 8th, will be our next regular meeting. It will be here at Palmetto Learning Centers or virtual. And on March 30th will be the deadline for your economic interest, statement of economic interest form to make sure you do not go past that date. No other business at this time. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All those opposed, say motion saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Like sign.